Hey, I'm Dee. Welcome back to Deez Roads. So this video is all about, well, as you can see if you read the title, the lessons that I've learned over the last 4 years of part-time car camping. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So before I begin this video, I just want to say that, of course, everybody is going to experience car camping differently. My preferences, my experiences are going to be different from other people's, and that's okay. Everybody has their own personal preferences, their own pet peeves, whatever. I just want to make it clear that this is my personal experience. So without further ado, let's get this video started. And since I want to leave the video on a good note, we'll start out with the bad. Then we'll go to the ugly, and then we'll talk about the good. So I brought my iPad with me because I want to make sure I don't leave anything out because I have a tendency sometimes to go off on a tangent and not get to the points that I want to make. So here we go. We're starting off with the bad. So for me personally, one of the bad things has been my rear cargo hitch window, my back window's window covers. It really took so many iterations to find the perfect fit, the perfect solution for that rear window. I've tried a few different things. I've tried blackout curtains, like regular blackout curtains that you use at home. And I used the Velcro trick to kind of Velcro them around because in the Hyundai Santa Fe, the 2023 version that I have, it's a little tricky. And my patience for cutting things to fit is not good. So it was fine during the winter time. But when it came to the summertime, the Velcro failed. So sometimes I'd wake up in the morning and find that half of my window curtain was down. So if anybody, walked past or drove past and they happened to get a good look inside, they probably saw me sleeping. After probably about three and a half years of part-time car camping, I went ahead and I didn't buy the expensive ones. I can't remember what they're called, but I didn't buy those, but I bought something like that, but it was cheaper. And they fit for a while, but then they started to shrink. So I was like, gosh, like what can I do? Because I spent all this money on this thing. Besides it shrinking just a little bit, it's a perfect fit. And so Nurse Babs, who watches these videos and has been a long time supporter of Deez Roads, thank you, Nurse Babs, she recommended using those tongue, like when you go to the doctor, tongue depressors, right? So I bought some of those and it works magic. Okay, let me show you. So these areas right here, I use the tongue depressor to kind of push these in right here. And that has done the trick as far as making sure that these stay up in these little grooves, especially right along this part right here. But without these tongue depressors here, I take these out. This started to like fall down like that, collapse a little bit. And of course, then you're letting in all this light or letting out all that light. So when you use the tongue depressors, it keeps them right in check. Yes! Another kind of bad thing is I'm located on the East Coast. And in some portions of the East Coast, it's really hard to find free boondocking, free camping at beautiful sites. So a lot of times, unlike this one, I'm in the Monongahela National Forest, which of course you have free dispersed car camping. But for me, that's about a 4 to 5 hour drive from where I live. So I can't come out here every single, I can't always come out here. Sometimes my schedule doesn't allow it. If you don't know, I do work. I do have a family, so I can't always be driving 4 or 5 hours to spend a night or two car camping. I'd rather be a little bit closer. So sometimes my schedule doesn't always allow that. But what that means is sometimes I have to sacrifice waking up to a beautiful view and instead wake up somewhere like Walmart or Cracker Barrel, something like that. Now, because I don't have a Starlink or anything that, or like satellite internet or, roaming internet, anything like that, I'm always relying on my phone's cell phone signal and that hotspot. So that's another bad thing. Yes, I do have the satellite messaging available on my iPhone, which I'm using to record right now. But that means I have to point it wherever the satellite is in the sky. Like I have to stand there and point it at it if I actually want to use the satellite messaging feature. That doesn't always work for me because, like I said, I have a family. And so if God forbid something were to happen, I want them to be able to reach me. And I also, if something were to happen, I need some help. I don't want to have to be like, oh, wait, let me point my phone at a specific direction in the sky. Make sure it stays there so my message goes through. So that's another bad, I think. But I love the fact of disconnecting. But when my family and people know that I'm out here car camping, they generally just let me have my time because they know that's important for me to refresh my internal batteries. This is, for me, this re-energizes me, gets my attitude back together to being my more positive self. So at some point, I'm probably going to invest in something like the Starlink Mini. I'm trying to wait and see how much Project Kiefer is going to be. That's also going to be another option for satellite internet. I want to see what the pricing is going to look like before I make the jump to get that. Because then when I come out to places like this, I'll feel more comfortable not having a cell phone signal because I'll have internet, which I can use with my phone. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, hopefully at some point in the near future, that'll happen. But like I said, I'm waiting for Project Kiefer, whatever that is, to come out with their pricing, and not only their pricing, but to actually make it available to the general public. So another thing that's on my bad list is that I car camp in a midsize SUV. This is the 2023 Hyundai Santa Fe. Let me put this away so you can see a little bit better. I was just finishing up cooking. But obviously, in this type of car camping setup, there is very limited space. So you really have to maximize the little space that you have. I've done so many different car camping setup iterations, probably 5 or 6 over the last 4 years, to try to get me to that sweet spot where I have enough room for storage to where I don't feel like everything's cluttered and like I'm in a tiny little box. I mean, I am in a tiny little box, but I definitely don't like the feeling of clutter, right? So that part has been challenging. So for me, it's been important to kind of try to find that correct setup that's going to allow me space, comfort, room for storage, but also allow for my son, who's going to be 10 years old in December, but for my son or anybody else in my family who wants to come car camping with me. Of course, I only have room for 2, but it is what it is. So that's been another, like, it's not necessarily, I guess it is. Is it bad? I don't know if it's necessarily bad, but yeah, I'm going to go through another setup here in the next few weeks to test an idea that I have. So that sums it up for the bad. Let's get into the ugly. As you see, I'm standing by my collapsible toilet and my coffee container, which I use as toilet solutions. This is the bad, okay? No, I'm sorry. This is the ugly, okay? So I'm just going to set this to the side here for a minute. We'll ignore that coffee container for a minute. Okay. When I have my car camping set up the way that I do now, without any seats removed, I have limited headroom. So my only option was to put this toilet on the floor behind the front passenger seat in the back row, right? Well, when I went to Massachusetts for my first ever time that I attended a Van Fest, which was amazing. But when I went to Cape Cod, Massachusetts area, on my way there, I hadn't even made it. I had this set up behind, well, just imagine this is the front seat. It's behind the front seat, passenger seat, right? All my seats were back in, so I didn't have a lot of space to play with, right? So I had the toilet facing your direction, right? And I had this seat up. If you see wetness on here, don't worry about it. It's just because I cleaned it with Clorox wipes. So this right here was up against my back seat, right? And so what I was going to do was just slide off the seat, the back row seat, slide onto here. But actually, I was doing it this way. Okay. So let me do it like this so my behind's not all in the camera. So I was going to do it this way and just squat over it, do my business. Okay. Well, for some strange reason, my toilet decided to deceive me. And in the midst of number one, this goes down, right? And you can only imagine what happened after that. I was ready to throw this thing out of the car. Now, I didn't do that. What I did end up doing was just completely collapsing it, folding it down, which, you know, is pretty easy, of course, after I cleaned everything up, which I had to clean it in the dark because I worked that day that I traveled, that Friday that I traveled to the Cape Cod Van Fest. So I had to clean everything up in the dark. Thankfully, what I do is when I do use this solution, I put a puppy pad underneath it. And then underneath that at the time, I had also had like a bathroom rug underneath that. So those two things together pretty much collected all the nastiness that would have hit my car's floor. Plus I have like the rubber floor mats, you know. But a little bit splashed back on the seat and such. So I had to use a lot of different methods to make sure that was sanitary. So this right here is the ugly. Using the bathroom without gross things happening. Okay, so that's that. So unless I'm in a space like this where I can set that up outside the vehicle and the vehicle is blocking anybody from seeing me handle my business outside, I use the coffee container inside because when I'm on my bed, I can act like I'm laying on my belly and just kind of like squat over it. And I still put a puppy pad underneath it just in case, but this has worked out a lot better. That's the ugly. I wanted to end this video on a good note. Yes, I still have my iPad because I want to make sure I don't miss anything. The first thing that has been not just good, but great is I have saved so much money car camping instead of staying in hotels. So I've done the calculations, and over the last 4 years, I've saved approximately $21,000. Yes, $21,000 by car camping and not staying at hotels. Let me break it down for you, and I'm going to put the calculations up on the screen here. And even when I book at a campground, it's still probably 75% less of the money that I would spend compared to booking a hotel room. So here's how I figured the calculations, right? So if I car camp 3 nights per month, over the last 4 years, let's say on average, a hotel room is going to be $150. Let's be real. Even if I did book a hotel, it's not going to be any more than $150, right? And the way prices are, a decent hotel, you're going to spend at least $150, including tax. So that breaks down to $21,600 over the course of 4 years. Now, let's say, for example, if I did 2 nights a month car camping and 1 night at a campground, that still breaks down to a savings of about $13,680 over the course of the last 4 years. Now, if I would had that money to begin with, I could have saved that money that I would have been using on hotels and bought a minivan. But I didn't have that money to begin with, which opens up the other thing that is great about this. Without this car camping setup, or without me being willing to car camp, I would not have been to many of the places that I have been to because I just would not have had the money to. So it's given me a chance to get out there, explore, get out in nature, see things outside of nature, explore different areas of the East Coast of the United States without having to go broke doing it. Hold on, I have to change locations for the next shot so you guys don't get bored of seeing the same thing. It's also been great for mental clarity and giving me a space and time to recharge my internal batteries when the regular 9 to 5 just gets to be too much. And I need open space, I need quiet time, time with nature, forest bathing, if you want to refer to it as that, just to recharge my energy, recharge my internal batteries, get back to having a positive attitude. I'll tell you, the last few weeks, the last few months have been super busy and challenging at work. And without this time, kind of by myself, solo, connecting with nature, I'd probably be super anxious just because of everything that's been going on with our schedule, with work. It's just a lot going on. So that's one, I guess it's not even good, it's a great thing. To me, that's even more important than the saving money part, is that my mental health has become better from being able to do things like this and recharging my batteries, connecting with nature, which is why, one of the reasons why I started to do this in the first place. All right, the second to last good thing is that it has given me a new skill, right? So, a few new skills. So, coming out here and being able to start a campfire, cooking on an isobutane or propane or whatever stove, um, looking for, simple things that other people might know, but I didn't know, looking at, what's it called? The tracks, like, animal tracks. I'm saying the wrong thing, but like being able to differentiate, is this a deer? Is this a mountain lion? Is this a bear paw print? So it's giving me those abilities, um, honed in on those instincts um, in the wild. It's enabled me to become more resourceful. And because I've become more resourceful doing things like this, it also boosts my, what's it called? Self-confidence. But in addition, it's also made me become really good at maps when I actually do rely on paper maps. I do a lot better than even listening to my GPS. I just need to get out of the habit of using a GPS. So when I was coming up, we didn't have the GPS. We didn't have GPS on the car. We didn't have GPS on the phone and things like that. So I would literally print out directions to get to a place. I would have maps with me. And I've gotten back to that place of carrying maps and writing down the directions or printing directions out. It's also made me really good at finding apps that I can use to find free car camping spots. So there's things like freecampsites.net, Campendium, iOverlander, those things you've heard of. There are a few different mapping apps that you can use as well. And I've become, I think, pretty damn good at using those things. My next endeavor or kind of goal for myself is, I find that when I'm planning these car camping trips, I use so many different apps to do that. And because I do know how to create apps, that's part of what I do for my job. I'm kind of contemplating taking this to the next level and creating an app that's all inclusive, that car campers, van lifers, RV people, folks who travel in RVs, and it doesn't have to be on a full-time basis, on a part-time basis, weekend warriors, whatever, that we could all use, that's kind of like all encompassing and has everything that we need in one spot. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because I don't want somebody else to take. Yeah. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Will it happen? Not 100% sure, but I'm looking into it. Let me know if that's something that you would be interested in, because maybe if it does become a thing, obviously there are a lot of apps out there that are free, but and that are paid for by ads. So it'll probably be something where there's a free version, but you're going to see ads. Because in reality, nothing in this world is free anymore. Um, that type of, in reality, even though it's great to have free options, you still have to realize that there's a developer behind that took up a lot of time and energy and resources and probably had to put out some money to be able to set that out to the public, make it public so other people could use it. So there'll probably be something like a free version and then a paid version that has a lot more features, right? But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I just want to put it out there. If you're interested in something like that, let me know in the comments. Because I think it's something that would be beneficial to folks like us, to this community. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you agree with let me know if you've experienced some of the things that I've experienced and consider them good, bad, ugly, whatever, indifferent. Let me know your experiences, your good times, your not so good times. Let us know in the comments. Make sure you subscribe, like, all that good stuff. In the meantime, happy car camping, stay safe, and happy travels. I'll see you on the next one.